The 2021 playoffs will feature the NBA's first ever play-in tournament, after the league originally experimented with a play-in game last season. While many are eager to see how it unfolds, others, including some executives and players, are already labeling the experiment a huge mistake. So how does the play-in work? What's the point of it? And why is it suddenly so controversial? Sit back, relax, and take this in. Before we get into the play-in madness, let's talk about the madness of the fact that some of you watching right now aren't subscribed. Let's fix that ASAP. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tell your friends to do the same. Alright, let's get back to the bane of LeBron's existence, the NBA's play-in tournament. We first saw an NBA play-in last year, when Portland beat Memphis to claim the Western Conference's final 2020 playoff spot. Because of the pandemic-related shutdown, and the fact the season ended up being shorter than 82 games, the NBA came up with the idea that if the 9th place team in a conference finished within 4 games of 8th, the two teams would play for the final postseason berth. It was a way to make up for the fact teams in the playoff hunt had less time to catch the top 8. But the 8th place team still had an advantage, only needing to win once, while the 9th place team needed to win 2 straight. With another shortened season on the docket this year, the NBA went a step further, ensuring the top 10 teams in each conference would all get a chance to play for a playoff spot, regardless of how far the 9th and 10th place teams might be from 8th. The format of this year's play-in tournament breaks down like this. The 7th and 8th place teams will face off to determine who gets the 7th seed. The loser of that game will then play the winner of the 9th versus 10th play-in to determine each conference's 8th seed. The higher seeded team will also get to play each play-in game at home. So if you finish 7th or 8th, you only need to win 1 game to make the playoffs. If you finish 9th or 10th, you need to win 2 straight. And in the case of the 10th place teams, 2 straight on the road.
Let's hit the road.
The presence of the play-in tournament also means that only teams who clinch top 6 seeds can actually clinch a playoff spot during the regular season. The top 2 seeds in each conference, meanwhile, will now get a sizable rest advantage in the first round, as they'll be chilling at home waiting for their opponents, while the future 7 and 8 seeds are playing for their lives. So what's the point? Why skew from the traditional format that sees the top 8 in each conference just awarded playoff berths? There are multiple reasons for the play-in. For one, again, teams are playing 10 less games than usual this season. So the play-in allows teams in 9th and 10th, who would usually have another 10 games to close the gap on 8th, a chance to still get in. The extra play-in berths and guaranteed play-in games this year also mean there are now 6 additional playoff-like contests for the league's broadcast partners to sell. Imagine the ratings and hype bonanza of a potential Lakers-Warriors play-in. As usual, when it comes to the business of pro sports, the most logical answer is follow the money. The possibility of play-in berths also makes the waning days of the season much more interesting, and means that more teams are playing meaningful games deeper into the season. Take the Kings, for example. Sitting 12th place in the Western Conference, and on track for the franchise's 15th straight losing season, Sacramento usually would have been in tank mode, or at least meaningless basketball mode, weeks ago. Instead, a hot streak to open the month of May meant the Kings remained mathematically alive into the final days of the season, as they needed only to remain within striking distance of 10th. The play-in has ensured that Russell Westbrook's unbelievable second half of the season will likely include postseason play, as Russ's Wizards will at least get a chance to play in the play-in.
That's pretty interesting.
If the Kings and Wizards played each other this week, that would be must-watch, meaningful ball. And who the hell would have said that about Washington and Sacramento in a traditional season? In general, it's good for NBA business if there's more reason to tune into more games for the entirety of the season, and if teams continue to have something to play for. Combine the increased playoff odds of each team with flattened lottery odds in recent years, and the NBA has created a system where the incentive to tank isn't what it used to be. Just don't tell that to the Thunder. Though you could make the argument that if 2/3 of the league is going to get a chance to make the playoffs at the end of a 72 to 82 game season anyway, it kind of devalues the regular season as a whole. The thing is, that's not the anti-play-in argument guys like LeBron James and Mark Cuban are making.
If this happens to, we end up at 6th or 5th or whatever the case may be, or if we end up in the playoff, whatever that thing is, whoever came up with that shit need to be fired. But whatever.
While Luka Doncic did mention that playing 72 games only to potentially be eliminated in 2 seems pointless, James and Cuban just seem bothered by the fact their teams are the ones facing play-in pressure right now. Cuban, one of the NBA governors who unanimously approved the new play-in format, now calls it an enormous mistake, railing against the fact that it's created more stress and must-win games in an already compressed schedule. LeBron was all for the idea last year, but with the banged-up Lakers now facing the real possibility of having to take part in the pressure cooker that is the play-in, King James thinks someone should be fired?
Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought?
Not me.
So what do you think? Do LeBron, Doncic, and Cuban have a point, or is it just sour grapes? Did the NBA take the play-in format too far this year? Or do you like the idea of a play-in going forward from now on? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.